Radhe Radhe and welcome to Yuva Vani 2021, an initiative started by Namadwaar Singapore to celebrate Youth Day. My name is Shreya and it's my pleasure and privilege on behalf of Namadwaar Singapore to welcome you all here today. I am delighted to welcome Dr. Janani, disciple of His Holiness Maharanyam Shri Shri Muralidhara Swamiji and the Global Gopakuteeram Coordinator of Global Organization for Divinity India, to participate and share in our first Youth Day event, Yuva Vani. I would also like to formally welcome Mr. J. Balasubramanian, President of Namadwaar Singapore as well. And most importantly, a huge welcome to you all, family and friends, for participating in this event and showing your support. So this year's theme is Learning from Heroes of Indian Epics, and we have 13 Gopakuteeram youths with us today who will be presenting and sharing about their favorite characters and how they have inspired them. So participants, I hope you're ready. And before we start, can I ask all of you to on your video and we can take a quick snapshot. Tapaswadhyaya niratam, tapasvi vagvidamvaram, naradam paripapracha valmikir munipungavam. Valmiki Maharishi inquires sage Narada about one man who has all the exemplary qualities and lists 16 of them for us. We have Shalini with us today, who will be talking about the topic on Sri Ramagunas. Shalini, take it away.
Radhe Radhe, I am Shalini and I am in grade 10. I have been attending GK classes for the past 8 years now. Although I am in grade 10 and have a tight schedule, I try my best to attend at least half an hour of classes every week. It gives me a great joy. Currently, we just finished learning Lakshmi Narasimha Karavalambam. We have started looking deeply into Ramayana. When we were discussing Sri Rama and his qualities, I felt very inspired. Whenever we hear the name of Sri Rama, we all are transported to the ancient times of Ramayana. Lord Rama serves as an inspiration to the entire mankind. He has set an example for every human being. He is known as the Maryada Purushottama, the perfect man. Truth personified, he is the most ideal man in all respects: spirituality, values, conduct, relationships, and probably everything under the sun we can think of. The name of Sri Rama can bring a few inner images in our hearts, and he is the finest human being with 16 Kalyana Gunas. Konvasmin Sampradam Loke Gunavan Kasya Viryavan Dharmagnyascha Kritatnyascha Satyavakyo Hridavataha. This sloka describes the first 6 gunas of Sri Rama, which I will be sharing with you all. This is the crux of the very purpose of Lord Rama's incarnation. Valmiki Maharshi has placed Gunavan as the most significant characteristic of Lord Rama, showing that Rama was full of good qualities. In Ramayana, we can see Lord Rama displaying these qualities in many different situations. He goes to the forest and accepts Guha, the leader of the hunters, as his younger brother. He accepts Hanuman as one of his best devotees. He then proclaims Vibhishana, a person who was born in the Rakshasa clan, as his brother too. Lord Rama treated everyone equally. This quality of Rama taught me what it means to be a good leader. Lord Rama inspires us to embody good qualities. He teaches us the characteristics needed to make a good leader. The next quality that Valmiki Maharshi points out in Lord Rama is Viryam. It is well known that Lord Rama was a great warrior bestowed with extraordinary powers and strength. From a young age, Lord Rama's prowess as a Viryavan can be observed. Lord Rama killed Tataka, who was using her illusions to protect herself, but Rama's arrows broke her illusion. Lord Rama is also said to be a Dharmagnya, someone who always stands by his Dharma. He was an epitome of this quality. In Ramayana, Lord Rama never spoke even a word or went against even one wish of his father. He stood by his Dharma when he killed Vali in the forest. He stood by his Dharma while war was going on between Ravana and himself. We can notice that each and every instance, Lord Rama followed Dharma meticulously and lived as an example for all of us to ponder and follow. Lord Rama inspires me to stand by my righteous path in terms of ethics, morality, and character. There is no shortcut to success in any field. That real success can be achieved by only following the righteous principles pertaining to the respective fields. This is what Lord Rama shows us all. Most of us would have come across this proverb in our daily lives. Small drops make a mighty ocean. Best suits the help rendered by little squirrel. Lord Rama showed Kritagnya, gratitude, to the little squirrel. Kritagnya is a quality where one is always thankful or grateful for even the smallest of the upakara that he receives from others. A person who always at any given situation talks only the truth is called a Satyavan. That was another Kalyana Guna highlighted by Valmiki Maharshi. Lord Rama was said to be a Satyavak. Accompanied with this quality is Rama's determination. Dhridavrataha. It is said that anything in this world can be achieved with a positive attitude or intent. We can see this quite significantly in Lord Rama's life. When he was instructed to go on an exile to the forest for 14 years by his mother, Kaikeyi, he took it as an extremely positive sense and without talking another word proceeded forward. And when Rama's brother Bharata came back to him later on the request of Rama to return back to the kingdom, he refused to come back because he had given a promise to be on exile. He did not deviate from his truth. I personally equate these qualities that inspire me to have a positive attitude towards my goal, and in turn, the self-determination to achieve it. The easiest place here I could put into practice is my education. Lord Rama is an endless ocean of qualities that continuously inspires us even today. I will be really happy if I'm able to follow at least one of these qualities, this great Mahapurusha. I sincerely thank Namadwaar Singapore for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts of this great hero, Sri Rama. I also would like to thank Shreyaka for helping me and also Banu Auntie and all my friends for their kind support. Thank you.
Radhe Radhe Shalini, very beautiful. Thank you. You've brought out Rama's gunas so beautifully. Naram Jnanam Dadati iti Naradaha. Bestower of wisdom and thus Narada, Devarishi Narada's role in origins of Itihasas and Puranas, spread of Nama Sankirtana, mentoring of other bhaktas is truly an act of benevolence upon those who are on the path of spiritual progress. We have Aditya next, sharing about this great guru who is a guide for us all. Aditya, please take the stage.
Radhe Radhe everyone. I am Aditya Anand, Secondary 2, and have been attending Gopakuteeram classes since 2012. My GK teacher is Mrs. Uma Raghunathan from Tampines. First of all, I would like to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to talk about my inspiration. Role models are figures who we want to admire and want to learn from. Role models may have many flaws or positive sides, but it is one of the unique values that we admire and want to have. Aligning my interests with the methods to seek God, my role model is Narada, widely known for his bhakti. We can attain God via many methods: Gyan, Dhyana, Karma Yoga, or Bhakti. The easiest method is Bhakti. Sage Narada, the sage god, messenger of the gods, Rishiraj, and the cheerful Bhakta, goes by many names, but is greatly known for his Nama Sankirtanams and his constant chanting, Narayana, Narayana. with a veena held in his hands, accompanying the tune. But he had faced many obstacles before becoming the legend he is today. Son of a housemaid working for the household of Vedic ritualists, Sage Narada helped to serve the yogis who performed their duties there. He examined the yogis as they meditated and did the rituals. Soon after losing his mother from snake bite at a young age, he journeyed north and surrendered himself to the divine will. He soon reached God after years of patience and was reborn as the great Narada. As the traveling musician and storyteller who carried news and enlightening wisdom, he enlightened many people, making them his shishyas. He taught his disciples various slokas and chants to make them attached to God while still in the material world. But sooner or later, most of them joined with God, achieving their goal of bhakti successfully. Many of his followers reached great heights and accomplished exceptional achievements, making them legends, with their stories of bhakti spreading worldwide. One of the great examples is Dhruva, the North Star. Run away from his palace home, dejected, he searched for God relentlessly, but to no avail. That was when Narada appeared before him, suggesting the child to go back to his abode for the safety of the jungle he was in. But Dhruva's insistent want to search for God appalled Narada. Dhruva's adamancy showed Narada that he was a sincere seeker of Lord Narayana, and thus Narada blessed him with the sacred Dvadashakshara mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudaya. Following Narada's steps to achieve enlightenment, he eventually got what he was searching for, meeting Lord Narayana. Another story that shows Narada's success. The example I will share is about Prahlada being taught by sage Narada. Prahlada, the son of a demon but bhakti of Lord Vishnu, he became a devotee even before birth with the help of the great Narada. He then learned devotion to God from a young age from his guru and became immensely attached to God. Resistant to all methods to separate himself from the Almighty, he survived multiple attempts of filicide from his father, who had the goal of eliminating any sense of God near him. With a strong intent of meeting God derived from Narada, paired along flawlessly with the belief that God was everywhere, he eventually got to meet Lord in a rather unpredictable way. All this was made possible due to Narada guiding him to the path of righteousness. Prahlada's story will be continued with more details from my friend Rohit's presentation, who is after me. In summary, Narada is a great guru who guided many others in the path of bhakti and helped them reach God. He has also affected one's situation in moments of peril or doubt to help us make the right decisions and succeed in life. Narada has inspired many, and that includes me. He inspired me to choose good and logical options in moments of uncertainty. These are the attitudes and actions that the gleeful song-singing bhakti preacher has, and is why I chose Narada as my role model for this presentation. Thank you and Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Aditya, thank you so much. You narrated really well with beautiful slides. Prahlada Narada Parashara Pundarika Vyasadi Bhagavata Pungava Hrinnivasa Bhaktanurakta Paripalana Parijata Lakshmi Nrisimha Mamadehi Karavalambam. This is a shloka from the Nrisimha Karavalamba Stotras. Here we can observe that amongst the great sages mentioned, Prahlada, Narada, Parashara, Pundarika and Vyasa, Prahlada the Sishya is placed foremost even before Narada his guru. Such was the greatness of Prahlada, who acts as an example for showing sincere devotion to God. We have Rohit, who will be speaking about this great Bhakta.
Hello everyone, my name is Rohit. I've been joining Gopakuteeram class since 2016 and I'm now in secondary 1. Today I'm going to share about Prahalada. Introduction. Hearing stories of the Lord about himself taking the form of a boar to save earth from Hiranyaksha, taking the Matsya avatar to protect the Vedas, but fought with demons like Madhu and Kaitaba. King Parikshit raised the question whether the Lord favored to the Devas always. To answer his question, sage Sukha narrated the apt story of the Lord's dearest devotee, Bhakta Prahalada, even born in Asurakula, the unshakable faith and devotion towards Lord. About Prahalada. When Prahalada was in his mother's womb, he listened to the Upadesha of Sage Narada, giving him the Bhagavan Nama, and since then he was one Bhakta who would always hold on to the Bhagavan Nama. Prahalada embraced the Lord while sitting, walking, eating, and drinking. Prahalada showed acts of kindness, care, and respect through his actions. Some examples are shown here. Prahalada was kind to all, and this can be seen as he preached the same to his demonic friends, saying, "Be kind to all creatures and extend your help to all." Srimad Bhagavatam describes Prahalada as Amad Vatsarvbhutanameka Priyas. This phrase of Srimad Bhagavatam meant that Prahalada was kind and loving to all, and loving all beings as one would treat oneself. The next, the following Srimad Bhagavatam line, which meant, despite him being endowed with learning, wealth, charm, high, but he was devoid of pride and arrogance. Even though Hiranyakashipu troubled Prahalada, little Prahalada bore no ill will. In fact, we see that when Lord Narasimha appeared, Prahalada prayed for his salvation. Further, Srimad Bhagavatam says, as shown over here, describes Prahalada as one who was caring like father to a needy, affectionate like a brother to his equals, and looked upon elders as God himself. When Prahalada was threatened by his father to give up his faith on Lord, but he did not. Instead, he told his father about the 9 ways on how how one should worship Lord, which are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Prahalada did not react when his father told the soldiers to kill him, but Prahalada, instead of keeping quiet, he chanted the Bhagavan Nama, and nothing could hurt Prahalada in spite of Hiranyakashipu trying his best. Not even a single scratch was on Prahalada's body. So in summary, Prahalada was a great Bhakta of the Lord, and he would not seek the destruction of even those who intend to inflict harm upon him. When Prahalada's guru, gave him the Harinama. So Prahalada was such a devoted Shishya that he is considered as the foremost of Hari Bhaktas, and that would set Prahalada apart from all devotees. Bhakta Prahalada has inspired me to show faith towards Lord and not to give up hope always. So in the nutshell, Prahalada was a staunch devotee of the Lord who showed faith towards the Lord. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Yes, you can stop sharing screen now. Yes, definitely Prahalada truly is a great Bhakta, and you've brought out these aspects very beautifully, Rohit. Now, speaking about great Bhaktas, another hero comes into our minds. Manojavam Maruta Tulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanara Yuta Mukyam Sri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami. Yes, the mighty Hanuman. And we have Siddharth next, who will be presenting to us about this iconic figure. Siddharth, the floor is yours.
Radhe Radhe everyone, my name is Siddharth and I'm currently in secondary 2. I have been attending Gopakuteeram classes for the past 8 years and I have been participating in many of Namadwaar's activities. I love attending GK classes as they are packed with shlokas, stories from our Puranamas, and I get to learn them with my friends. This month, in our GK classes, we have been focusing on Ramayana, learning the stories and shlokas in detail. I have always been interested in these stories and the lessons that it teaches us. One of my favorite personalities from Ramayana is the valiant Hanuman. Buddhir balam yashodhairyam, nirbhayaktvam arogata, ajadyam bhakpatutvam cha, hanumat smaranat bhavet. The shloka I just said is a shloka that everyone knows. This shloka says that anyone who recites this, Hanuman himself will bless them with all these qualities. Today, I will be sharing with you all about these attributes of Hanuman that have inspired me. Our journey starts from Treta Yuga, where the gods requested Lord Vishnu to take a human form and put an end to the tyranny of Rakshasa King Ravana. At the same time, Lord Brahma requested all the celestial beings to come as Vanara-like beings to help Lord Vishnu in his human avatara. The son of Vayu, Hanuman, was the foremost Vanara to help Lord Vishnu in his Ramavatara. Valmiki Maharshi first mentions Hanuman. Marutas Yaurasaha Sriman Hanuman Nama Vanaraha Sarva Vanara Mukheshu Buddhiman Balavanapi. He says Hanuman is the strongest, fastest, and the wisest among all the Vanaras. While Hanuman's qualities are all coexistent, I will try to use some incidents from Ramayana that specifically illustrate Hanuman's qualities and discuss how they inspire me as well. Prayatha Siddhi Bhaya Muktaha. Go forth, fearless of failure. When we think about Hanuman, the quality that jumps to our mind is his fearlessness. And this is the first quality of Hanuman that inspires me greatly. Since then, young Hanuman has always been fearless, whether it was leaping into the sky to catch the sun, which resembled a juicy mango, to fighting demons. While on the mission to search for Sita Devi, Hanuman is brought into Ravana's court when questioned about his identity. Hanuman bravely and truthfully declares himself to be the messenger of Lord Rama. It is very dangerous for Hanuman to reveal himself as Lord Rama's messenger at Ravana's court, but Hanuman is very fearless and declares his identity without any hesitation, even when in enemy's territory. This quality of Hanuman inspires me greatly. He teaches us that courage creates action, action creates confidence, and confidence allows us to fulfill our potential. Nava Vyakarana Pandita is the title given to Hanuman. Just like how Hanuman is born with fearlessness, he is also born with a lot of wisdom and intelligence. These qualities of Hanuman, Buddhi, and Vakpatutvam are very inspiring to me. Throughout Ramayana, from the moment we meet Hanuman, Valmiki Maharshi describes many beautiful circumstances where Hanuman displayed this quality. When he met Sita Devi first in Ashokavatika, she was not able to recognize him immediately, but with Hanuman's remarkable communication skills, he was able to assure Sita that he is the only messenger of Lord Rama. I learned from Hanuman that speaking and presentation skills are very, very essential to make an impact and asset oneself. Hanuman inspires me to use my knowledge and construct my thoughts and speech eloquently so that it reaches the audience well. George Hackenschmidt, a professional wrestler and famous author, quotes, "Health can never be divorced from strength." This is another attribute that Hanuman is celebrated for. His epic strength and tirelessness, Balam, Ajadyam, and Arogata, makes him an iconic figure. In Ramayana, Jambavan himself says, Pakshayo yat balam thasya tavat bujataram thala, comparing Hanuman's arm strength to that of the wings of Garuda. During the battle between the Vanar Sena and the Rakshasa Sena, Ravana, Lakshmana, and 67 crores of Vanaras succumbed to Indrajit's missiles. Hanuman, at Jambavan's request, goes in search of Mrita Sanjeevani, a healing herb that grows in Mount Rishabha at Kailash. Unable to recognize the herb, Hanuman uprooted the entire mountain and brought it to Lanka to not waste time. Later, he carries the mountain back to the Himalayas all in one night. This is the supreme example of his immense strength and tirelessness. Every story of Hanuman is filled with him doing tasks that seem so impossible. One of the main reasons for achieving such great feats is due to his dhairyam, another admirable and inspirational quality of Hanuman. His mental strength and courage are shown in various circumstances in Ramayana, displaying his fortitude in the face of adversity. When Hanuman was searching for Sita in Lanka, he started worrying when he could not find her. He gets momentarily depressed and worries if all his actions are in vain. But then he talks himself out of his depression and concludes that the absence of despondency is the key to success in all endeavors. Hanuman inspires me to have the courage in the face of adversity, as it will help us succeed in our activities and work. Character speaks volumes. This is something that we all grew up hearing. Well, at least this is what I keep hearing. Who else but Hanuman embodies this? Hanuman's combination of qualities as well as all his exploits add up to his fame, Yashas, making him a popular figure not just in India but all over the world. His many great attributes led him to become a very important messenger for Sugriva, but also a messenger for Sri Rama, a Ramaduta. Sita Devi herself praises Hanuman when he hands over Lord Rama's royal ring to her at Ashokavatika. She says, Arha seche kapishreshta maya samabhibhashitum adi asi preshita tena ramena viditatmana. Sita Devi feels comforted that Lord Rama has chosen Hanuman as his emissary to find her and deliver Lord Rama's seal to her. I personally believe that it is Hanuman's Vinayam and Bhakti, humility and devotion, along with his selfless service, made him so dear to Sri Rama and Devi Sita. Despite all his excellent attributes, Hanuman has been very humble, never spoke out of turn, and always listened to the counsel of those older than him. All these together made him a Nitya Saha, ever famous. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Namadwaar Singapore for giving me this wonderful stage to talk about my most favorite and inspirational character. Hanuman, an iconic figure, proves to be an inspiration for us all, especially the youth. I have just brought out a few of Hanuman's attributes and how they inspire me. His qualities are like an infinite treasure chest, which continue to inspire us even today. I would especially like to thank Shreyaka for helping me edit the script and giving me pointers for my speech. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Siddharth. Very wonderful. Thank you. Truly, Hanuman is a powerful inspiration for us all. Just as how Hanuman was devoted and selflessly served Lord Rama, in Mahabharata we have Arjuna, who is fondly known as Krishna Saka. Irish quotes, Arjuna always chose Krishna no matter what. Let us take a look at what inspirational lessons we can learn from Arjuna. Irish, take it away.
Radhe Radhe. My name is Irish and I'm currently studying in grade 8. For the past 6 years, I've been in GK and I've been learning many slokas and stories about our Hindu culture and tradition. I've always been interested in the Mahabharata and GK classes allowed me to dive deeper into it. Today, I'll be sharing about Arjuna and highlighting few of his qualities that truly inspire me. Arjuna is one of the heroes in the Mahabharata epic. He's a central figure in the Hindu religion and whose name means bright and shining. Arjuna or Partha is a master archer and plays a central role in the conflict between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Arjuna was a devoted friend of Krishna. When he was given the choice of Krishna or the Narayana Seva, he chose Krishna himself. Arjuna is such a perfect example of dedication towards the Supreme God. Arjuna has a great amount of self-confidence, but at the same time, he remains humble and down to earth. These are the first two qualities of Arjuna that inspire me greatly. We can observe Arjuna portraying these qualities when Dronacharya asked all of his students to fight a very powerful king Draupadi. None of the students were ready, except for Arjuna. He had no doubt in himself and he fought Draupadi. Arjuna had a strong self-belief in a very pure form. Arjuna never took pride in any of his skills or qualities. He was very humble and sincere as well. He was willing to accept his flaws and learn from them. He always pays gratitude to God or in life. And though he had a lot of suffering and so did his family, he still came out of it due to his good nature. Arjuna teaches me there's a delicate balance between true self-confidence and genuine humility. He inspires me not to be driven by the need to be right, but rather to do the right thing. Arjuna inspires me that if I truly believe in myself and what I do, I can do anything. Arjuna also taught me that being self-confident allows me to know my strengths and my confidence in them, and that humility allows me to recognize my weakness and how to learn from them. Another quality of Arjuna's that inspires me greatly is his motivation and dedication to learn. He doesn't just learn a single skill, he learns all of it. During his time in Dronacharya's ashram, when the lights went out at night, Arjuna had continued to eat. That's when it struck to him that if he was able to eat in the dark, he should be able to perform archery in the dark as well. Thus, he practiced and practiced until he was able to hit his mark. Arjuna constantly spent his time learning and polishing his skills. He never missed an opportunity to learn. Even during his exile, he took plenty of training in order to be fully prepared for the final war. Pleased with his dedication and learning, Arjuna received celestial weapons from the gods and devas. Arjuna teaches me that there's no alternative to hard work. He inspires me to be always ready to learn and nurture new skills as they can help us later on in our lives. My parents always wanted me to join different classes and learn new skills. Now, because of Arjuna, I constantly practice and hone both existing and new skills with focus and dedication. Arjuna's attentiveness and focus is another quality of his that inspires me greatly. He never gets distracted from his objective. There is a very famous incident which proves that Arjuna was a very attentive and dedicated student. Once, Dronacharya asked all the Kauravas and Pandavas to shoot the eye of a bird that was perched on a tree with a bow and arrow. He called them one by one and asked what they could see. All of them answered things like the tree, the bird, the leaf, and so did Dronacharya himself. When Arjuna's turn came, he answered that he could only see the bird's eye. Thus, he was able to hit the target successfully because of his focus was only on the bird's eye. There's no doubt that Arjuna became the greatest marksman that ever lived. His focus was unparalleled. Arjuna inspires me to be a keen observer and have deep focus. Just like him, he inspires me to pay attention to the minute details and set my goals right. I can honestly say that I'm not the most attentive person at home or at school. Even now, I've struggled to focus, especially during these boring classes. However, after seeing what Arjuna achieved by being focused, it inspires me to believe that if I'm observant and focused, I can achieve all my targets and goals. Not just in school, but in GK classes as well. Since we're all having classes virtually, I sometimes get distracted, start using my phone. But now I rarely get distracted and I've learned how to focus like Arjuna. Whenever we think of Arjuna, we immediately think reminded of Krishna as well. Arjuna's immense faith in Krishna truly inspires me. Arjuna always had lots of respect and the utmost faith in his friend and companion, Lord Krishna, because Arjuna somewhere knew that Krishna was a god. Despite any situation, Arjuna always chose Krishna. Even for the war, Arjuna chose Krishna just as charioteer and allowed God to lead him. He did not care about the mighty army that he had to face. His constant dedication and faith in God really inspires me. Yato dharmas tato Krishna, yato Krishnas tato jeha. This means that wherever there's Krishna, there's Dharma, and wherever there's Dharma, there's eternal victory. Arjuna truly believes in this. Life is full of choices. We often act as Duryodhana and choose the path of power and wealth, compromising on honesty and justice. Arjuna inspires us all to choose the path of truth and dharma over worldly temptations. This is the reason why Arjuna won the battle, even with a smaller army. He knew that Krishna would always make him choose the right path. Likewise, during GK classes, Banu Aunty always tells us, just have faith in God and chant Nama. Whatever you wish for will happen. Arjuna inspires me to never lose faith in God, as He will do only good for us. We just have to have patience and constant trust. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Namadwaar Singapore for allowing me to share about my most inspiring and favorite personalities from the Mahabharata, whose faith, courage, and skill continues to inspire us all, even today. I would also like to thank Shreya for helping me with my speech and Banu Aunty for encouraging me to read the Mahabharata. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Irish, thank you so much. You beautifully brought forward all the inspirational qualities of Arjuna that we can learn from. In Mahabharata Adi Parva, there's a shloka that goes, Aindril narastu bhavita yasya Narayana saka Solju netya vikyataha Pandov putra pratapavan. Nara, whose companion is Narayana, will be born as Indra's son and indeed will be known as Arjuna, the mighty son of Pandu. We can observe that Arjuna and Krishna have a bond that transcends yugas. We have Devash next, who will be sharing with us about Krishna. Devash, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Ranganath Devash. I am now 13 years old and studying secondary 1. I am here to now share about Krishna, one of the main gods that everyone knows. Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the Brahma Vaivarta Purana is a Sanskrit text and a Mahapurana of Hinduism. It features Krishna and Radha and is a Vaishnavism text. The text identifies Lord Krishna as a supreme reality and asserting that all gods such as Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Ganesha, Muruga are the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Krishna's life is presented as a cosmic play, Leela, where his youth is said as a princessly life with his foster father Nanda portrayed as a king. Krishna's life is closer to that of a human being in the Hari Visama, but is a symbolic universe in the Bhagavad Purana, where Krishna is within the universe and beyond. There are numerous versions of the Krishna's life story, of which 3 are most studied: the Harivamsa, the Bhagavata Purana, and the Vishnu Purana. Today, I will share about the Bhagavata Purana. The story of Krishna in the Mahabharata says that Krishna was the main reason for the Pandavas' success. He was the one who motivated the Pandavas, especially Arjuna. He trained him to be a good and honest soul no matter in any situation that he faces. Though Arjuna and his brothers who had to go against their stepbrothers, the Kauravas, Krishna motivated them to have no fear and bravery during the war. Although many lives were lost, they continued on in the war and succeeded in the end.
Thank you, Devash. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Vidura is said to be the best amongst the Kuru dynasty, who was perfect in devotional service to Lord Krishna. Vidura was a wise minister and a humble devotee. We have Anirudh, who will be sharing with us interesting lessons taught by Vidura himself for all of us to get inspired by. Anirudh, take it away.
Dharmatma bhavita loke sarva buddhimatam varaha. Sajajne viduro nama Krishna Dvaipayan Atmajaha. This shloka appears in the Adi Parva of the Mahabharata and describes the birth of Vidura. The shloka lists the qualities of Vidura, saying he's a Dharmatma, someone who always follows the path of Dharma, and a Sarva Buddhimata, endowed with great knowledge. Radhe Radhe, my name is Anirudh and I'm in 7th grade. I regularly attend GK classes where we learn different shlokas and stories about the Puranas and Itihasas. While learning about the different Mahabharata characters, I was very interested in the story of Vidura. Today, I will be sharing about my favorite personality of mine, Vidura, the Mahamantri, who is a great inspiration for us all. The word Vidur in Sanskrit carries a meaning of skilled, intelligent, and wise. These were the exact qualities possessed by Vidura. He is celebrated for being a great scholar who was an epitome of truthfulness, unbiased judgment, dutifulness, unfaltering faith to Dharma. However, he is prominently known for his nitis, chronicled in the form of conversations with his brother Dhritarashtra, which took place prior to the war of Kurukshetra. While Viduraniti is mainly grounded in politics, it can be widely used even in our daily lives. Vidura is a great inspiration to me as he was well-virtued and supported only Dharma. He was a very wise person and did not veer from his main goals in establishing the truth. Today, I will be sharing some of Vidura's inspiring slogans from his Niti. Naprapya mabhivanjanti nashtam nechanti shochitum apat suchana muhyanti savai pandita uchyate. Vidura says a wise man doesn't waste his effort and time after unattainable goals. He does not worry about the things he lost and does not lose his senses in difficult times. Vidura inspires us all by telling us to focus on our goals. When a person works for things that are unattainable, he is said to be foolish, especially during difficult times. When you start worrying and lose your vision for the goal, Vidura inspires me to keep short goals for myself, especially in school. Then I can focus on it much more easily and work towards reaching my goal. He also inspires me not to worry too much if an unforeseen circumstance arises. Just have faith and everything will work the way it is meant to be. Worrying about something that is not within our reach will do no good to us. So Vidura tells us to have a strong mind and put our efforts into attainable goals. Another niti that really inspired me was Na hrishyati atma sammane nava manena tapyate gango hrida ivakshobhya yasa pandita uchyate. A wise one is not too happy when honored, he does not feel sad when dishonored, and he is not affected by emotion, even in difficult times. This niti is something that I have started to implement. Most of the time, we do something to get praised for, to get recognition. When we do something and someone praises us, we feel over the moon. We feel elated and special that we got honored and noticed. Vidura tells us that a person who gets overexcited in joy will suffer from harm because it undermines the ability to think properly. But on the other hand, when you expect to do something and get praised but you don't, that's when we start feeling anger or sadness. This makes us prejudiced and biased, and we start to dislike the person who did not give credit to us. Vidura says, don't let emotion get in the way. In Mahabharata, we see how Dhritarashtra's fatherly feelings clouds his judgment during his son's evil actions. Vidura inspires me not to let emotions get in the way. Accept whatever comes with to you with open arms, disappointments or successes. This is something I've started trying to do after getting inspired by Vidura. Sometimes I seek recognition when I do something, and when I don't get it, I feel upset and angry. But now I try not to let my emotion get in the way of judgment. During Gopakuteeram classes, we also learned about reacting versus responding. Reacting is something we do very instinctively. When we react, we might say some harsh words that might hurt the other person's feelings. Instead, we need to respond by first calmly thinking through before speaking. This should ensure that we are never biased. Another niti of Vidura that inspired me is about the good qualities we need to have for success. Shadaiva tu guna pumsa hatavya kadachanaha satyam danam analasyam anasuya kshama dhritihi. He lists us for 6 qualities that should never be abandoned: truthfulness, giving, not being lazy, not finding fault even in something bad, forgiveness, and determination. Vidura was a great representative for all these qualities. What truly inspires me about Vidura is that from the beginning he always opposes Duryodhana and all the other Kauravas in their plan to deceive and kill the Pandavas. He was never fearful of those in power. He, along with the prince Vikarna, was the only one to verbally oppose the Vastraharan at the royal court of Draupadi. He stays neutral during the course of the war and always stands up for what is right. Standing up for Dharma, Vidura teaches us that a person can only be successful if he is true to everyone. Similarly, giving and a forgiving nature can take a person a long way because those who give are considered well by people, and the quality of forgiving prevents people from having grudges that give rise to negative emotions. He also inspires me to never find fault in others. It is important to always see the good qualities rather than the bad in people, as this would make you very optimistic and free from malice. He also says one should be determined if he wants to succeed. Determination is key to remaining focused on the task in hand. In a world full of distractions, when you're lazy, the mind becomes lethargic and the ability to work actively and thoughtfully decreases. Vidura inspires me to uphold these 6 qualities, even a little, to achieve the successes we want. Vidura Niti teaches us and inspires us to be emphatic and excellent individuals. The Vidura Niti represents Vidura, as Vidura embodies all these qualities that he states. I would sincerely like to thank Namadwaar for giving me this opportunity to talk about my favorite and inspirational person, a humble and learned and devoted minister, Vidura. He also continues to inspire us even today. I would also like to thank my teachers, my parents, and Shreya Akka for their help. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Anirudh. Thank you. So you shared with us all the excellent qualities of Vidura, and he says unfaltering faith in Dharma was the most important one. Similarly, we have Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti Devi, who is known to be a Dharma Raja. I will leave it to Aishwarya to share with us the aspects in which Yudhishthira can inspire us all. Aishwarya, you can take the stage.
Punyashloko Nalo Raja Punyashloko Yudhishthiraha Punyashloko Videhascha Punyashloko Janartanaha. Starting with Karagare Vasate Lakshmi. This is the 4th verse from Pratasmaranam, which allows us to do Smaranam of great personalities. And Yudhishthira, the truthful, is remembered here along with Krishna. The sloka says, the very utterance of these names purifies the tongue. Such a great personality is Yudhishthira, the Dharmatma. Radhe Radhe, my name is Aishwarya and I am in 9th grade. I regularly attend GK classes through which I am exposed to itihasas like Mahabharata in depth. Today, I will be sharing about one of my favorite characters from Mahabharata, Yudhishthira, the Dharmaputra, who is a great inspiration for all of us. Mahabharata is a well-known itihasa that teaches us all through its various scenarios of all characteristics one should try to emulate to lead a good life. I personally believe that Dharmaputra Yudhishthira serves as an important role model and inspiration for us youth today. One can never speak enough about King Yudhishthira. He was someone who lived by the vision that upholding Dharma is equivalent to life and leaving Dharma is equivalent to death. His courage, righteousness, and humility is well admired by all. We all know that Yudhishthira was the son of King Pandu and his first wife Kunti, the first among the 5 Pandava brothers. From his childhood, Yudhishthira was greatly influenced by his uncle Vidura and his grandfather Bhishma, and trained by 2 warrior sages, Kripa and Drona, and was also known for excellence in the usage of spear. Truth always triumphs is a famous quote that is taught to us from a very young age. This is the first quality of Yudhishthira that inspires me. Speaking the truth all the times, especially in a bad situation, is very hard. However, Yudhishthira had a staunch belief in always speaking the truth to uphold Dharma. Yudhishthira's true prowess was shown in his unflinching adherence to Satya and Dharma, which were more precious to him than royal ambitions, material pursuits, and even family relations. This can be seen during the Kurukshetra war. To beat Dronacharya, a skilled warrior and the guru of Pandavas, was a difficult task. Lord Krishna suggested a tactful way of distracting him so that the Pandavas can gain the upper hand. Bhima had just killed an elephant called Ashwatthama. Krishna then instructed Yudhishthira to announce that Ashwatthama had been killed. The idea being that Drona, unable to bear his loss of his son, would stop fighting, but Yudhishthira refused to utter a lie. Yudhishthira, greatly known for his adherence to Dharma, refused to fulfill the task unless he could speak the truth. From here was born the famous line that we all know, Ashwatthama hato itihi narova kunjarova, meaning Ashwatthama is dead. I'm not sure if the man or elephant. The word elephant was not heard by Dronacharya. Dronacharya therefore thought his son had been killed. The point to note, however, is that even when there was a need to lie, Yudhishthira did not. This incident itself shows how Yudhishthira never compromised his dharma or the truth for anything. Dhritihi Shama, Damosteyam, Shaucham, Indriya Nigrahaha, Dhir Vidya, Satyama Krodho, Dashakam, Dharma Lakshana, courage, forbearance, ability to overpower, understanding one's flaws, clearness of purpose, control of senses, understanding, learning, and sincerity. These 10 qualities constitute the characteristics of Dharma. Yudhishthira was not called Dharmaraja for just being the son of Dharma. He is Dharmaputra, son of Dharma, as well as Dharmaraja. He was the king who upheld Dharma better than all the other kings in the world. Yudhishthira inspired me to always speak the truth and never compromise Dharma, especially for selfish reasons. Usually, I'm quick to respond with a lie whenever I'm caught in an unexpected situation. For instance, when I'm using my phone instead of studying and my parents question me, I just lie and tell them that I'm studying. Those small lies, these lies are instinctive. Yudhishthira inspires us that when we start practicing speaking the truth, we realize that we are living a life that is in line with our deeper values. And when our life is guided by our values, our decisions will be based on truth. Vidya dadati vinayam vinayat yatri patratam patrutvat dhanamapnoti dhanadharmam tatasukam. This is a famous quote that describes Yudhishthira perfectly. It says, Vidya dadati vinayam, knowledge makes one humble. This is the second quality of Yudhishthira which inspires me, that knowledge and humility goes hand in hand. Yudhishthira, the name itself, means the one who is stable in a war. His intellectual discussions with Nahusha, Yaksha, exemplifies his immense knowledge. Despite being a well of knowledge, Yudhishthira never hesitated from asking doubts to the rishis and learned from them. After answering Nahusha's questions, he did not miss an opportunity to learn back from Nahusha. Despite being the king, he was never smitten by pride or false ego. Yudhishthira was the epitome of humility for someone who was so knowledgeable. Knowledge makes one humble. This humility, in turn, leads all the way to Dhana Dharma Tatasukam, right conduct to happiness. Yudhishthira inspired me to look up to people and want to learn from them. Whether it's our teachers in school or our parents or even our older siblings, Yudhishthira also inspired me to be among learners, well-cultured people, so as to have an element of positivity around us. This is why I feel so blessed to attend classes like Gopakuteeram, which allows me to grow up surrounded by our culture and learn important qualities. Just like how a vessel that is completely filled seldom makes noise, a person who is truly knowledgeable and distinguished must have humility, but must not just have humility, but also be open to learn, but also be open to learn, which is a never-ending process. Yudhishthira's patience is another excellent quality that I personally am inspired by. Yudhishthira was always patient, and he also thought twice before making a decision, and he succeeded in it. Throughout his entire life, we can see how calm he was and accepted everything that came his way without a fight. He constantly took action to turn all the negatives into positive growth opportunities. Despite being royal heir to the throne of Hastinapur, Yudhishthira and his brothers were forced to spend almost half of their lives away from the kingdom in the wilderness of the forests. Yudhishthira was patient and waited for the right time to act, for the right principles, and in the right way. Patience is not the ability to wait. Patience is to be calm no matter what happens, constantly taking actions to turn it into positive growth opportunities and have faith to believe that it will all work out in the end. Patience is a great virtue to have. Reading about Yudhishthira and learning how he displayed his patience throughout his life, it inspired me to start practicing patience and avoid getting angry. I have now started practicing patience by taking the long view when making decisions and being mindful of everything and everyone around me. Researching and learning about such a great and virtuous warrior really taught me some of the important qualities that I should embody to lead a beautiful life. Yudhishthira is a true inspiration and role model, not just for me, but I believe for all youth today. We can see from his life that every step he took, every decision he made, every action never compromised his values or dharma. I am very fortunate that I got the opportunity to talk about my inspirational figure today. I would like to take this moment to sincerely thank Namadwaar Singapore for giving me this wonderful platform. I would also like to thank Shreya Akka and Bano Auntie for helping me in all the way possible. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Aishwarya, thank you. Truly an inspirational figure for us all to follow. We now have Pranav, who will be sharing with us about another Kunti Putra, his skills in archery as excellent as that of Arjuna. Pranav, the stage is yours. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. I am Pranav and I have had the fortune to be learning from Srimati Lakshmi. I have learned a bit about our rich culture and heritage through my association with Gopakuteeram. Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. This is a famous adage. This is a famous adage which we are all familiar with. This adage emphasizes the fact that there are four great reckoning forces in our lives, and we
Radhe
should.
Radhe, Pranav, sorry, could you please turn on your video? Thank you.
One sec, please give me a minute.
Yeah, sure.
My video is not working from that device, so I'm using a different device. Is that okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Pranams and Radhe Radhe. I am Pranav Arabindan and I have had the fortune to be learning from Srimati Lakshmi. I have learned about a rich culture and heritage through my association with Gopakuteeram. Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. This is a famous adage which we are all familiar with. This adage emphasizes the fact that there are four great reckoning forces in our life and we should respect them in the order, as without them we cannot exist. We can cite many anecdotes to emphasize the fact that this is present phenomenally in our lives. Today I am here to talk about a character from Mahabharata who was a victim of circumstance and was forsaken by all the four, Mata, Pita, Guru and Devam. Karna is undoubtedly one of the charismatic central characters in Mahabharata. Like Bhishma, Karna as well is greeted with unfortunate events in the early phase of his life and is challenged with difficult dilemmas at the later phase. Kunti Devi, the princess of Mathura, daughter of Shurasena, was serving the great sage Durvasa and his severe penance. She was blessed with a mantra through which she could have a child by just thinking of a deva. A youthful Kunti, not realizing the significance and power of the boon, wanted to try it and invoked the name of the sun god. The child is born and is endowed with Kavacha and Kundala. Kunti, who realizes her folly, panics. She wraps the child in a silken cloth and places him in a basket and leaves the basket floating in the river. He was thus forsaken by his mother. His father, the sun god, also forsook him as he merely watched at what Kunti did and did not rush to Karna's rescue. As Karna grew up, he mastered archery under Parashurama. Parashurama had taken a vow not to tutor the warrior class. Karna, as such, he did not know that he belonged to the warrior class. One afternoon, Parashurama was relaxing with his head on Karna's lap, and Karna was bit by a wasp. Karna, not wanting to disturb his guru's sleep, bore the pain. Later, Parashurama felt the blood and inquired. He realized that none but the warrior could have borne such pain. He cursed Karna that he would forget the skills learned at the very moment he would require them the most. Thus, he was forsaken by his guru. Unfortunately for Karna, even God chose to forsake him. Krishna, the avatar of the universal protector, nursed Indira to seek the Kavacha and Kundala from the injured Karna who lay dying in the battlefield, and God too forsook him and did not protect him. Karna, the child, after he was forsaken by his parents, was later found by Adhirada, a charioteer, who brought him up with love and care. He grew up to be a soft-hearted and charitable man who craved for acceptance. Even as a child, he was known for his charitable deeds as a person who gave all whenever someone approached him. Karna's encounter with Duryodhana and thereafter his significance in Mahabharata happens when he tries to participate in the archery competition that Guru Dronacharya was conducting between his students, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. He was insulted for being a person who did not know their identity and origin. Duryodhana, feeling slighted by Arjuna's prowess, wanted to get back at the Pandavas. He felt that Karna's skill would match, if not surpass, the skill of Arjuna. He immediately rose to the rescue of Karna and named him king of Angadesa and his lifelong friend. The friendship which blossomed soon became the epitome of friendship. This relationship blinded Karna to the fact that he had to stand by righteousness and not by loyalty to friendship. Karna was a man of morals. He never once let down Duryodhana. He conspired against the Pandavas to suit the ego of his friend. And Duryodhana broke all boundaries of ethics and insulted Draupadi in court. The behavior of Karna had a touch of arrogance. He behaved in an uncivil way and hurt the Pandavas and their queen Draupadi. The Pandavas had landed to slavehood, and he got the opportunity to verbally assault them in the assembly hall. Krishna knew the importance of Karna in the war, and the mission to bring peace between the Kauravas and Pandavas failed. He realized that the hope of peace lay on Karna. Duryodhana's victory led on Karna, and both Karna and Duryodhana were well aware of this. He wanted to break their friendship to avoid the battle. He went to Karna and explained the mystery behind his birth. Krishna brought forth the fact that Karna was the elder brother of the Pandavas and explained the circumstances of his birth. Krishna said that he was also the rightful heir of the kingdom which belonged to the Pandavas. He requested Karna to fight for the cause of the Pandavas. However, his loyalty to Duryodhana was everlasting and he didn't waver. Karna's jealousy and hatred on Arjuna is well established through this and the fact that he was brutally instrumental in the killing of Abhimanyu, the young but promising warrior and the son of Arjuna. When all else failed, Krishna sent Kunti to go and convince Krishna to to change his mind. Though Karna was overwhelmed by his mother reaching out to him, he did not waver from his loyalty and friendship. The great charitable Karna only once in his life sought something from someone. When Kunti approached him to fight from the side of Pandavas, as he was their elder brother, Karna refused. He gave two boons to Kunti that he would not harm any of the Pandavas except Arjuna, and that he would not use any astra twice against the Pandavas. As he granted his mother the boons, he also sought two from her. He said that as long as she was fighting against them, the Pandavas were not to know that he was the elder brother. This shows valor and sacrifice, as he knew that Yudhishthira would relinquish all and would not fight against his own brother. so there would be no war. However, Karna prayed for recognition, so as a second boon, he sought that Kunti should come to the battlefield and grieve for him as a mother would, and should make it known to the entire world that he was her son should he die in the battlefield. Karna's greatness is thus established, and after the Kurukshetra war, the fate of the Kauravas and Pandavas is being decided as to who would go to hell and who to heaven. All the Kauravas were sentenced to hell. However, Duryodhana was given a day in heaven as the only good deed he did was to bond with Karna in a friendship which has surpassed all time boundaries. Karna had walked through the paths of evil, which ultimately caused his downfall and catastrophe. This gives us a reason that no matter how powerful you are, if you are going through the path of evil or adharma, your doom is definite. The character of Karna is a sharp contrast between the character of Arjuna, between dharma and adharma, but dharma ultimately wins. Thank you. Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you. You've brought out your point so beautifully, Pranav. Just like how Yudhishthira was known to be a staunch follower of Dharma, parallelly in Ramayana, we see Vibhishana leaving even his family behind for Dharma. In Ramacharitramanas, Sri Tulasidas writes, Buddha Purana Shruti Sammata Bhani Kahi Vibhishana Niti Bakhani. Vibhishana spoke wisdom, and that too in words that had the approval of the wise, as well as the Puranas and Vedas. We have Sarvika next, who will be speaking about Vibhishana, the knowledgeable and staunch follower of Dharma. Sarvika, the stage is yours.
प्रवृत्ति निद्रह सदा कुंभकर्णो महाबलः विभीषणः तु धर्मात्मा न तु राक्षसचेष्टितः प्रख्यात वीर्यो चारणो भ्रातृ करदूषणो. These words were spoken by Surpanakha, the demon sister of the infamous Ravana, to Lord Rama, describing her brothers. Surpanakha says that Vibhishana tu dharmatma. She herself calls Vibhishana as virtuous soul to Rama, introducing Vibhishana for the first time. Radhe Radhe, my name is Sarvika and I am in class 8. I have been attending GK classes for a year now and I love learning new slokas and stories. We are exploring Ramayana currently, the great Indian epic that teaches us important values needed in the society. Relevant to all ages, it dwells deeply into showing us the right path towards dharma and righteousness. Such is the tale of Vibhishana, the brother king of Ravana, whom I will be speaking about today. Vibhishana, the Dharmatma, proved to be an important asset for the victory of Rama. I opted to talk about Vibhishana because his life is one of the best examples of selflessness, devotion, service, and adherence to Dharma, which are very inspiring to me. We all know who Vibhishana is, the youngest son born to sage Vishrava and Kaikesi, and the youngest brother of Ravana. Vibhishana insisted on following the path of Dharma even though he was an Asura. Being a venerated Chiranjeevi, Vibhishana depicts true devotion and a pure heart. The first quality of Vibhishana that inspires me is that he is a man of right conduct. In Yuddhakanda, Sarga 87, Indrajit, the son of Ravana, questions his uncle's morality for joining the enemy instead of supporting his family. He says, Sauchas Swamiji Durbuddhe, Nindaniyascha Sadhubihi, Yastvam Sajanamutsrajya, Parabritya Tvamagataha. If my father did not listen to your words, you should have remained silent and not allied yourself with our enemies. Is this kind of treachery defined? Vibhishana gave a very fitting answer. Indrajit, you are ignorant. You do not know right from wrong, truth from untruth. It is unworthy for a person to remain silent in the face of wickedness. Such inaction can destroy an entire society. We can all see from this scenario that Vibhishana stood for what was right, even forsaking his family, to stand by Dharma, not just in this life but in all his lives. In Vibhishana's previous birth, he was Prince Satyavrat. He was called so because he always spoke the truth and walked in the path of Dharma. Due to his steadfast devotion to uphold Dharma, he was ultimately blessed and saw Lord Vishnu's avatar as Sri Rama. This is an important lesson we can all learn and apply in our lives. Usually, I'm not that kind of person to speak out when someone does something wrong, fearing that my friends might label me as goody two shoes and make fun of me. But after learning about Vibhishana's story in GK, I realized how important it is to speak out whenever we see someone doing something wrong, even if it puts us at a disadvantage. We need to have the courage to stand by what is right, no matter the consequence. Nurture dharmo daya paraha is a verse that I used to constantly hear growing up. There is no bigger virtue than compassion, and Vibhishana was the epitome of compassion. A story goes that once the three brothers Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana performed a severe penance to invoke the presence of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma appeared before them and asked them for their wish. While Kumbhakarna asked for Nidra and Ravana asked for freedom of death at all hands of deities, Vibhishana, however, asked for his heart to be filled with compassion and make him lead a righteous life. Vibhishana, because of this, always remained compassionate, never yielding to hatred or anger, even when taunted and abused by Ravana and his sons. This was the kind of compassionate man Vibhishana was. He was a true Dharmatma. Who else but someone with compassion would be able to handle all the disrespect and still think good for them? Because of his compassion, he was able to secure God's grace and proximity to Bhagavan. Sri Tulsidas teaches us a very important lesson. Sadhu avagya turat bhavani, kar kalyan akil kaihani. Ravan jabahi bibhishan tyaga, bayo bibav binu tabahi abagha. Disrespecting a saint, Devi Parvati immediately robs one of all blessings, and when Vibhishana left Lanka, Ravana's doom was sealed. Normally, I ignore people who ask me for help if it doesn't matter to me. I used to think that even if I helped that person, I wouldn't get any benefit. So, what's the point? But reading about Vibhishana and learning about him has inspired me to be more compassionate and show empathy. He inspires me to challenge myself to be compassionate each and every day. When Vibhishana left Lanka, he abandoned his beloved brothers, royal status, and wealth, seeking the path of righteousness with no second thoughts. Vibhishana puts full faith in the protector, Lord Rama. Vibhishana says to Rama that he has abandoned everything and has surrendered himself. When Vibhishana was accepted as a true friend, he immediately became a noble guide. He told them how to cross over the Samudra to Lanka. Before the war, Vibhishana also tells Rama about the vows of Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Vibhishana provided information about Indrajit's mystical powers. He also told him about the secret to Ravana's death. Vibhishana proved to be a true friend and an armor for Lord Rama. During the war, he helped to shatter all the special missiles used by Indrajit and infused courage amongst the Vanaras. Vibhishana inspires me to help and selflessly serve others. I am learning from him that I should share my knowledge and give my help however I can. The selfless act of serving others is a way to bring more joy into the world. Vibhishana henceforth sets the right example of inspirational and devotional behavior. He inspires us to always follow Dharma. He also shows us that we should never be blinded by jealousy and greed. I would personally consider Vibhishana a key character of Ramayana. He taught us how to be sattvic in nature and truthful even when surrounded by wrongdoers. Stand for injustice and do what is right, not worrying about the consequences. And most importantly, to hold belief and have selfless devotion to God. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank Namadwaar Singapore for giving me this wonderful opportunity to talk about Vibhishana, my favorite and inspirational character. I would also like to thank Shreyaka for guiding me and helping me to explore new things. Thank you and Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Sarvika, thank you. You're very eloquent. Sarva Dharma Vidambarishtaha, the knower of all Dharma Bhishma. We have Shreyas who will be talking about Bhishma, fondly known as Pitamaha, a strict advocate of following the truth. Shreyas, the stage is yours.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity for speaking about the heroes from our Itihasas. My choice is Bhishmacharya. I like Bhishma because he was a very humble person and always stuck to his vows. He was one of the greatest warriors in the Kurukshetra war. The way he battled was fearless, but in his mind, he was always a great Krishna Bhakta. Let us now see who Bhishma was and how he always stood by his promises. Bhishma was the son of river Ganga and Santanu. His parents named him Devarata. Devarata had 7 siblings born before him, but all of them were killed by Ganga. When Santanu asked Ganga why she was killing all their children, Ganga told Santanu the story of the birth of all the kids. All of them were cursed in their previous janma by Sage Vashishtar, and hence they had requested Ganga to be their mother in the next birth, and that they would wished to be killed immediately as soon as they were born. Because she was questioned by Santanu, Ganga then left Santanu. After many years, Santanu met another woman near the bank of Yamuna and asked her to marry him. She was Satyavati, and Satyavati's father had a condition for their marriage, that the child born for Santanu and Satyavati would be the future king and not Devarata. Santanu was upset as Devarata was the next rightful king and that he loved him very much. But when Devarata came to know about this, he went back to the banks of the river Yamuna and promised Satyavati and her father that her son would be king and not him, and that he would never get married. Santanu and Satyavati then got married, and she gave birth to 2 sons, but one unfortunately died. The living child was named as Vichitraviryan. When it was time for Vichitraviryan to get married, Bhishma bought 3 women from Kasi to be married to Vichitraviryan. One of the women was Shikandini, who didn't want to marry Vichitraviryan and wanted to marry another prince. Bhishma won him over, but Shikandini was so adamant and prayed to Lord Shiva that in her next birth she would be able to slay Bhishma. She was so impatient that she burned herself to death. She was born as Shikandi in her next birth and fought later in the Kurukshetra war with Arjuna as they both attacked Bhishma. Bhishma was given the name as Bhishma by the Devas because when it was time to crown the new king, Bhishma gladly stepped down. Everyone could hear Bhishma, Bhishma echoing, which means a person who fulfills all their vows. Vichitraviryan then had 2 sons, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. As we all know, Dhritarashtra, the eldest son, had 100 sons, the Kauravas, and Pandu had 5 sons, the Pandavas. Pandu became the king as his elder brother Dhritarashtra was blind. When Pandu died, Bhishma crowned Dhritarashtra as Hastinapur king and was always there to safeguard Hastinapur. Bhishma was also a very intelligent person. We come to know about this from the below incident. Once, when the Pandavas and Kauravas were very young, they were playing with the ball and it fell into a well. Dronacharya, who was the Kula Guru, came there and took the ball back with mere blades of grass. Pandavas and Kauravas could not recognize Dronar. They went and told this to Bhishma, and Bhishma immediately knew that it was Drona. Pandavas and the Kauravas were then trained by Drona. Soon, the Pandavas and Kauravas became extremely skilled in warfare. Throughout the Mahabharata, we can see that Bhishma gives a lot of advice and tries to convince Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and the other Kauravas to treat the Pandavas better. After exile, it was decided that the Pandavas and Kauravas will fight in the Kurukshetra war. Bhishma was given the supreme position of a commander, so he was the leader of all the Kaurava forces. He was the leader of 11 divisions and each division consisted of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 65,610 horses, which is 3 times more than the number of chariots or elephants, and 109,350 foot soldiers, which is 5 times more than the amount of chariots or elephants. In the war front, Bhishma took a vow to kill the Pandavas. Sri Krishna played a trick whereby Draupadi seeked Bhishma's blessings in the war front, and Bhishma blessed her as Dirgha Sumangali Bhava 5 times, as she prostrated 5 times to Bhishma, since she was married to the 5 Pandavas without realizing that it was Draupadi. Thereby, he blessed the Pandavas. In the war front, Bhishma was fighting Arjuna, and Shikandin joins him. Though it looked as if Bhishma aimed arrows at Arjuna, he was actually aiming the arrows at Sri Krishna, which was Arjuna's charioteer, and chanted the Vishnu Sahasranamam in his mind. His arrows were actually Archana flowers for Sri Krishna. Finally, Bhishma's chariot was destroyed and he was shot by Arjuna on the 10th day of war. He was lying in a bed of arrows watching the battle. People say that Bhishma was waiting for Uttarayana Punya Kalam, that is, when the sun moves to the northern hemisphere. But Bhishma was actually waiting for Sri Krishna Darshan. Finally, when Sri Krishna appeared, he sang the Bhishma Stuti, which appears in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, the 9th chapter. He prays to Krishna to bless him. He describes his favorite Parthasarathi Krishna in all these shlokas and praises Krishna that though he had promised that he would never take a weapon and fight in the Kurukshetra war, in order to make his Bhakta Bhishma happy, Krishna actually took the wheel of the chariot to fight against Bhishma. Towards the end of the stuti, he refers to the Gopikas, and from this looks like he wished to be born as a Gopika. Bhishma did a smaranam of the Gopikas. This stuti is very special as he sings the stuti with his own experiences of Sri Krishna. He then chanted the Vishnu Sahasranamam. He left his body contented, having the darshan of Sri Krishna. Bhishma lived for 256 years and had always kept his promise of protecting Hastinapura throughout his life. The main value that attracted me towards Bhishma was to always keep up my promises. I would like to thank everybody once again for giving me this opportunity. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Shreyas, wonderful. You've beautifully brought out your points confidently. So thus far, we have listened to these youth talk specifically about their favorite personalities. There are many more personalities that can inspire us from both Srimad Ramayana and Mahabharata. We have Raga next, who will be speaking about lessons we can learn from Srimad Ramayana, presenting the pearls of Ramayana. Raga, please take the stage.
आधौ पांडव धार्तराष्ट्र जननम लाक्षा गृहे दाहनम द्यूते श्रीहरणम वने विचरणम मत्स्यालये वर्तनम लीला गोग्रहणम रणे विचरणम सांधिक्रिया जृंपणम पश्चात् भीष्म द्रोण दुर्योधनादि निधनम एतत् महाभारतम. Radhe Radhe. I am Raga, currently in Sec 1, and I have been attending GK classes as well for 2 years now. In these classes, I have learned many shlokas like Radhika Panchakam, Nadi Stotram, and Srinivasa Karavalambanam, to name a few. These GK classes are very enriching and enjoyable. I have always had an interest in reading the Mahabharata stories, and I realized how inspiring they were. They teach us so many qualities that we need to abide by to lead a successful life. The epic narrative of Mahabharata is a tale that has been written thousands of years ago, yet is revered as a legendary tale and is etched in the minds of one and all. The stories are popular and continue to overwhelm the listeners even today. This beautiful epic is revered not only because of the poetic grandeur, but also for a number of powerful life lessons that are extremely useful and impactful in the lives of all today. Today, we all listen to the stories shared by my fellow friends, and each of the lessons learned holds significant importance, continuing to inspire us youths even today. I am pretty sure that you all know the story of Mahabharata, representing a battle that is extremely prevalent in the world we live in today. Mahabharata brings forth the characteristics of humans, both good and bad, teaching us morals and inspiring us to follow them. I don't know if you have noticed, but there are plenty of life lessons one can learn from Mahabharata. Acharyat Padamadate, Padam Sishya Swamhedhaya, Padam Sabrahma Charebhyaha, Padam Kala Kramenacha. A student learns a quarter from the teacher, a quarter from own intelligence, a quarter from fellow students, and the rest in course of time. Learning is lifelong and is not limited by anything. Mahabharata, through its stories, teaches us this very important lesson, inspiring us to continue learning and never stop. In the Mahabharata, this is the first quality that inspired me. The Pandavas and Kauravas started their learning from Guru Drona in Gurukul and learned many skills. But once they returned to Hastinapura, Kauravas hardly learned anything else. But at the same time, Pandavas continued to learn new things and improve their skills. Arjuna worshipped Lord Shiva and learned Pashupatastra. He even got divine weapons from Indra. Bhima also worshipped Lord Hanuman and found new ways to increase his strength. And other important lessons. During their Vanavas, they always polished up on their skills and never stopped learning, despite the circumstances they were in. This really inspired me and motivated me to start applying them to my daily life. It really inspired me to never stop learning. School arms us with information and various skills and gives us a base to learn even further. Books, life events, people, nature, all act as teachers. We have abundance of them in our life. Mahabharata teaches and inspires us that there is no limitation to learning, only our own self and our mindset. The next lesson that Mahabharata teaches us that truly inspired me is that a revengeful instinct can only lead to one's doom. It is quite a known thing, but when I was reading the Mahabharata, it really inspired me and solidified this virtue of not being revengeful. Mahabharata may revolve around the war of duty, but we cannot escape the fact that the major reason behind the destruction was revenge. Revenge leading to disaster is one of the major themes in Mahabharata as per my personal opinion. The Kauravas lost everything to their blinded desire to ruin the Pandavas. The first revenge is taken by Amba in the form of Shikhandi, which turns into a death knell for Bhishma. Draupadi got her revenge when Bhima killed Dushasana in the war. Bhima's revenge comes in the form of the death of Duryodhana. The war did not even spare the children, including Draupadi's 5 sons and Abhimanyu. The Kauravas, fueled by their revenge, jealousy and greed, attempted the lives of the Pandavas on many occasions. The revenge-seeking attribute led to their downfall. Mahabharata, through its stories, simply just inspired me to always choose the high road and never have this feeling of revenge ever again, and even teaches us how to not let revenge get hold of us through personalities like Yudhishthira and Vidura. Anirudh earlier mentioned about reacting versus responding. We should always try to respond instead of reacting. This way, we will not let our feelings be in control of our decisions. Lastly, this is one of the most inspiring lessons from Mahabharata that truly inspired me, especially because I am a student. It is that passion and determination that always finds success. Through stories of Karna and Ekalavya, we learn the importance of passion and determination. Pranav highlighted how Karna, being very passionate about learning archery skills, he taught us that if you are passionate about doing something, you will always find a way to succeed. From birth itself, Karna had to face many challenges, but his passion and determination to learn led him to Lord Parashurama, an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, who taught him archery and other divine skills, molding him into becoming a great warrior. Karna turned out to be a perfect example of how one can fulfill one's passion despite all the hurdles and challenges life throws at us. He inspires me to work towards my goals no matter any difficult situation I come across in life. He also inspires me to be honest and dedicated to my goal, which will in turn conquer all the difficulties and will eventually allow me to reach my goal. Mahabharata, though it is reflected as a story, carries a lot of weighted messages and life lessons. Even if it occurred a long time ago, its pearls of wisdom are applicable even today. I have barely skimmed the surface. Mahabharata is a treasure trove of wisdom and leadership lessons for all walks of life. I would like to sincerely thank Namadwaar Singapore for giving me this opportunity to learn and share about these lessons. I would also like to thank Shreya Akka for her sincere help and guidance. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Raga, beautiful. You've captured the points wonderfully. Many of the personalities chosen today comes from the great epic Mahabharata. An exemplary tale with many lessons, Aditi will now be sharing with us some of the life lessons we can replicate or start practicing from Mahabharata itself, presenting the pearls of Mahabharata. Aditi, the stage is yours.
आदौ राम तपोवनादि गमनं हत्वा मृगं काञ्चनं वैदेही हरणं जटायु मरणं सुग्रीव सम्भाषणं वाली निग्रहणं समुद्रतरणं लङ्कापुरी दाहनं पश्चात् रावण कुम्भकर्ण हननं यथा हि रामायणं. Radhe Radhe. My name is Aditi and I'm in grade 9. I really enjoy the GK classes, as in these classes I learn different shlokas and their meanings, and especially enjoyed learning about the Dasavataram, the incarnations of Lord Narayana, as it is both interesting and inspiring. Currently, we have started looking in detail into Ramayana and learning the shlokas. I grew very interested, and it propelled me to identify some of the takeaway lessons for us. The Ekashloki Ramayana that I said before tells us the entire story in just one shloka. This great epic Ramayana is revered by all, and the story of Ramayana, whenever read, tends to give us a great insight into the very high moral and ethical standards that we should all try to live by. It teaches us all that Dharma, which is considered to be the highest authority of the world, can yield greatness, happiness, and wealth. The core of Ramayana is the ultimate conquest of Adharma. It contrasts Rama and Ravana and establishes that while Rama, the Gunavan, followed the path of Dharma, Ravana swerved from it. Today, I will be highlighting a few inspirational lessons that I learned from Ramayana through its different personalities. The first great lesson that I've learned from Ramayana is that we need to keep good company. It plays a big role in shaping your identity, and so your company should be positive. This is emphasized in Ramayana when Mandara, Rani Kaikeyi's handmaiden, poisoned her mind with negative ideas, and it led to her to persuade King Dashratha to send Lord Rama to exile. Everybody knows the story of what happens next. But before this, Rani Kaikeyi showed a great amount of affection towards Lord Rama, even more than her own son Bharata. This shows how easy it is for one's behavior to be changed by bad company. Surrounding yourself with good company gives you more positive thoughts and behaviors. However, how do you know that you're surrounded by bad influences? What are the signs? According to personal experiences, you can always talk to someone you trust and ask them for guidance. Another great lesson that Ramayana teaches me is that forgiveness is greater than revenge. Forgiveness brings peace, while revenge brings more conflict. This is shown in Ramayana when Ravana, the king of Lanka, kidnapped Sita Devi in revenge for Lakshmana's harsh treatment of his sister Surpanaka. Even after this, Lord Rama says that if Ravana returns Sita Devi and apologizes, war would be avoided. However, Ravana chose to ignore this, which led to his demise. Before this, he was the righteous king who provided prosperity to the land. However, because of his need for revenge, Lanka lost a great ruler. Whenever someone acts wrongly, it is better to forgive them than fight fire with fire, which does no good to anyone. Revenge may provide temporary satisfaction, but it cannot prevent conflict, as opposed to forgiveness. Dasharatha extols Rama's virtues. Buddhiman, Madhurabhashi, Purvabhashi, Priyamvada. He mentions these three attributes of Lord Rama's speech: sweet, proactive, and full of affection. The greatest of people have said that words, when well chosen, possess so much power that they can do wonders. Lord Rama in particular is known for his way with words, his pleasant disposition, regardless of whom he speaks to, and his unwavering accordance with Satyam when he speaks. Ramayana teaches us that our words are very important. They have the ability to uplift or hurt someone. We should always choose the right words. And how can we do that? Like Lord Rama, we need to learn to always be affectionate and sweet, never letting our negative emotions be the voice of reason. We should speak to anyone, even strangers, with a sweet disposition. Lord Rama is such a compassionate speaker that his words do not insult even his foes. Instead, he expresses his Vatsalya Guna in giving another chance to the abductor of his own wife. Ramayana, through its different personalities, teaches us how to be humble, friendly, and good-natured to everyone. As indicated before, Rama is said to be a Purvabhashi, one who initiates a talk. This is a unique quality. Rama highlights that he was never conceited or aloof. Rama always puts everyone that he meets at ease by striking friendly conversation with them. The best illustration of this quality appears in Rama's meeting with Shabari. Immediately after she welcomed them to her hermitage, Lord Rama inquired about her welfare. He asks her if his service towards her guru was fruitful. Above all, he addresses Shabari as Charubhashini, a sweet speaker, before she even speaks. This quality of Rama transcends all other verbal nobilities, convincing him as the master of speech and essence of compassion. This lesson from Ramayana is very inspiring to me. We should all try to emulate this beautiful quality. I personally am very inspired by this. Ramayana has taught me many things, but these 4 lessons stood out to me the most, as it clearly outlined the need for good company, forgiveness, humility, truth, and the impact of words in everybody's daily lives. I would sincerely like to thank Namadwaar Singapore for giving me this opportunity to talk about how Ramayana influenced me to lead a better dharmic life, as well as Shreya Akka for helping me with my speech, and Banu Auntie for teaching me about Ramayana. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Aditi. Beautifully rendered the lessons we can learn from Srimad Ramayana. Time really flew by listening to all these youths sharing with us about their inspirational personalities and lessons we can learn. Participants, kindly turn on your videos. You guys deserve a big round of applause. To our speakers today, Shalini, Aditya, Rohit, Siddharth, Irish, Devash, Anirudh, Aishwarya, Pranav, Sarvika, Shreyas, Raga, and Aditi. Good job, guys. Now, moving on to the most awaited part of this event. Janani Akka, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shreya, and thank you, Namadwaar Singapore, for having me as a part of this event. I won't take much of your time. I'm pretty sure all of you were tensed before you presented, and now you all want to just go back and, have dinner and just chill. So before I start, kudos to all the Gopakuteeram teachers who belong to Namadwaar Singapore, who've been doing this with so much sincerity under the guidance of Bala Mama. This really is the greatest service we can do to the society, because getting children connect to their roots is the best thing that that we can give children. And this is the vision with which Gopakuteeram was started by Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Maharanyam Shri Shri Muralidhara Swamiji. And all of you have taken it really as a very sincere kainkariya, all the Gopakuteeram teachers. And now it's very heartening to see the next gen who have passed out of Gopakuteeram, like Shreya, take this up and inspire all of you to come and do this. And pranams to all of your parents who have spent their time with you and allowed you to spend your time in these classes. It really, really matters a lot. And this is something which you all will probably understand and realize much later, because when Swamiji says, he usually tells that all these epics, all these Puranas, if we really observe, Bhagavan Shri Krishna comes to put an end to Kamsa, to put an end to all the Asuras, and we think Bhagavan Shri Rama comes to put an end to Ravana. That's how we look at the story, but that's not really the purpose, because if God wants to put an end to somebody who's evil, he can just be where he is and do it, isn't it? The reason he even comes is because he lives a life of values, and he has friends and he has people who are along with him, who also live all those values and show us. And for us, when we read, honesty is a very good quality, kindness is a very good quality. When we read it, it's just like knowledge. But when we see somebody like that, we want to be like them, isn't it? So that is the purpose why God even comes down to the world and, he does what he does. Because, if it was only to bring an end to all these problems, he can just do it from where he is, isn't it? So the very purpose of God taking all the effort to come down and live a life and give us a story to read and look up to is for us to imbibe those qualities, right? And the very easy way of doing it is reading these stories and listening to these stories, because we might observe, like, if we really like some celebrity or some personality, or we spend too much time with somebody whom we really like, we start talking like them, we start becoming like them, right? Like that, we imbibe their mannerisms and all of that. If we observe, many of you might have mannerisms like your parents or your teacher, because you really like them or you keep seeing them a lot. So the Swamiji would say the easiest way to become like somebody is to keep thinking about them, or keep listening about them, or keep watching them. So we start getting those qualities, and that is exactly what all of you have done today, because only because you derived inspiration from these characters, you thought about them, and you have come and presented it so well over here. And this is the purpose of Bhagavan having come to this world, and all of you have given that back to Bhagavan. Bhagavan must be really happy today. God must be really happy today, because you've all fulfilled the purpose why he came here. So, you can really sleep today giving yourselves, you can give yourself a pat on your back before you go to sleep today, because this is the best thing, the best gift you can give. One of you had spoken about Prahlada Maharaja, isn't it? Prahlada, when he sings his stuti to Narasimha Bhagavan, he says all these, some people may be rich, some people may have learned too many things, maybe intelligent, maybe, so many other things, that worldly things that we have may look very beautiful. All of these things, if we were to do something for Bhagavan with all of this, like say somebody has a lot of money, they want to throw a big puja or something like that to Bhagavan, Bhagavan will accept that also. But what really pleases Bhagavan is to see all these values and virtues that Bhagavan had, and Bhaktas of Bhagavan like Arjuna and Prahlada had, and imbibe at least one of those attitudes in us, one of those values in us. That is the true puja that Bhagavan will accept and be really, really happy about. Like, that should have inspired us. That's what Prahlada says in his stuti. So that is what all of you have done today. And it is really very heartening to see that the purpose of Gopakuteeram has been achieved with what all of you have done. And not just this is one thing that I want to leave all of you with, like something you have to take back home from this session is that you all spoke of so many great heroes from our Puranas, and all of them have a lot of good qualities, right? A lot of good virtues. But if you see, the basis for all of these virtues is one thing. Can anybody tell me what it is? For you to get inspired to have some value and to practice it, what is that one thing you really require? You can just unmute yourself and tell me. I cannot see all of you in this view. Anyone has an answer? Sorry?
Perseverance.
Perseverance, good. Very good.
Dedication.
Dedication, good.
Compassion.
Okay, so you can practice it only when you have perseverance and dedication. All of you are right. But when do you want to practice a value? When do you want to have devotion to God?
Would want to have devotion
What
to
makes
God.
you want to persevere?
Interest.
How do you get interest?
Bhakti.
Okay, what is bhakti about? What gives you that interest? Like, say, if I want to do something, then I need to get interest in it. So what brings that interest in that for me? There might be somebody who would come to me and say, oh, why are you doing this? I don't think you should be doing this, right? At that time, probably.
Desire.
Sorry?
Your desire to do something.
Yeah, so why, what holds that desire very strongly in you? I'm looking for one word which is like the basis of all of this.
Inspiration.
Okay. So one of you want to be like really honest, okay? Like you practice honesty like Harishchandra, like Bhagavan Sri Rama. And I come and tell you, see, listen, in this world, if you just keep telling the truth, you cannot really have it easy. What do you want to do? Just be like everyone else. But you still want to like practice it. Why? What will you say if somebody says, oh, Rama must have existed? Maybe it's just a story. You can't live following all those values right now. What would you tell them?
Belief.
Excellent. Who was that?
Siddharth.
Siddharth. Okay. Yes. Faith, right? Faith in what you want to follow. Unless you are inspired and unless you really believe that quality matters to you, unless you really believe that hero who you want to inspire it from is true, what he did is really, really close to your heart. Unless that faith is there, that value cannot be practiced with perseverance. At some point, right, if somebody tries to shake your faith, you might probably give up and join the rest of the lot who's not following it. Agreed, all of you? So faith in what you want to follow is really, really important because that is the basis of bhakti. That is the basis of everything we do. And once we have faith in whatever we learn, nobody else can shake it. And that's the reason in all these Gopakuteeram classes, we talk so much about bhakti, about Bhagavan, about our great Indian heritage and all of that. This is because when you go out and meet a lot of other people who come from a lot of other, countries or communities and all of that, when you have faith in your roots, how strong they are, how, such a treasure that they are, when that faith is there, and it is instilled in such a young age, nothing can shake us at all. We will be really proud of what we are because of that one single faith. In fact, Swamiji would say that faith is greater than God himself. Because if God were to come in front of me and stand, unless I believe it is him, I won't even respect him. I think it's probably someone else and go away, right? It is only when that faith is there in me, I will even recognize God. I will even have that bhakti towards God. So faith is something bigger than even God is what Swamiji will say. So for all the inspiration that all of you have drawn today from all these characters, and in fact, you have left all of us inspired because we have learned new ways to see all these characters that you were talking about. You've given us a lot of information. So to hold on to whatever you have imbibed or whatever you have taken from these characters, faith is really, really important. So in all that we discussed today, there is one value that you want to take up today, take it as your life's mission. Say, I believe in this value. I want to live this value. Have faith in it. Have faith in yourself that you can achieve it. if you have both, somebody was talking about Hanumanji's fearlessness, and if he starts on a task, he has to finish it and all. That's because of the faith he had in Ramanama. It's because of the faith he had in himself that he's an instrument of God. So if he wants to do good, God will always stand with him and make him do good. He'll make him achieve it. He'll make him be successful. So when we are undertaking a value as a principle of our life, we should be very, very in complete faith that God will stand by us when we are going to practice that value. We might have a lot of hurdles, we might have a lot of problems. People might convince us to do something else, but because it's good, because it's a value, we have to have that belief that it is the right thing, and that when I do the right thing, God is always going to be on my side. So that faith is what is important to practice all these values that you have been inspired, reading about all these characters. So let's take up at least one thing for ourselves, which will be the story of our life. If there's one value that you want to take and you want people to identify you with that value, that is like a decision that you guys can take for yourself today, something like a resolution after this session. But having said that, it was amazing being with all of you. I learned a lot. I learned different ways of looking at all these characters from Puranas. So thank you for teaching me, and pranams to the entire Singapore Namadwaar team, to our Bala Mama for having invited me to this session, which I'm really glad I did not miss. And kudos to Shreya. I heard a lot of kids mention that Shreya had trained them. And it's very good to see that our younger generation of Singapore Namadwaar are inspiring a lot of other youngsters, which is the whole purpose of what we do. And to all our Gopakuteeram teachers, Bhanuji, Umaji, Lakshmiji, and everyone else who's like helping them with all of this. And to Uma Mami, who's like the inspiration for all of the Gopakuteeram teachers. Big pranams to all of you, and thank you for having me with you guys today. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Akka, so much. You beautifully shared the takeaway message and solidified the importance of this great value faith. Radhe Radhe. Thank you, everyone, for sharing.
Thank you, everybody.
So with this, we have come to the end of our event, Yuva Vani. Once again, a big thank you to all of you for joining us. A special thank you to Janani Akka and our GK teachers, coordinators, and Namadwarians from Brisbane, Sydney, and Perth. Thank you all, friends and family, for your encouragement and constant support. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, everyone. Radhe Radhe.
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 Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe.